here. Welcome to Keeping It Real with Rick. Got tongue-tied already here, so I'm a little rusty. It's been a few weeks since we've been online, but today I'm super excited to have my pal, Chad McCoy here. He's a seasoned real estate agent. I didn't say old, I said seasoned.
I'm old too.
But he's been in the industry in our area for over 20 years. Top producing agent. He's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to being a real estate agent. I'll let him explain his own self. But again, I'm excited to have you here today, Chad. Appreciate you taking time
Glad
out
to be
of your
here.
day.
Thank you.
So we're going to dive in. Tell us a little bit about you.
May 15th will be 28 years in the real estate business. And I started out, I'm from Illinois originally, knew nobody when I got into the business here in Bowling Green, and started working as just an agent, loved it, loved selling homes, and then started taking on a leadership role in my company at the time, spent 27 years there. And now I'm at Keller Williams First Choice Realty here in Bowling Green and took over the team leader role there. So I'm in leadership there also. My wife and I have a team of 22, and they're highly successful and just amazing people. And then I also do a lot of coaching and training and mentoring with our agents. And that's probably the best part of my job, is being able to pour into other people to help them become successful in the real estate business.
Awesome. That's what I said, jack of all trades, master of none.
No doubt,
them
man.
all off.
You know me too well.
So let's jump right in. So the real estate market in the last few years has been a wild ride.
It has.
Up and down. We went from low interest rates to now high interest rates and somewhere in between. Inventory fluctuating. So give us your take on the current market right now.
Wow. What day are you asking me? What hour are you asking me?
Well, today is Wednesday, the first week of April 2025. What's the market at the moment right now?
You know, the market's picking up. The market is getting really busy. I'm talking to my team. Our company has over 280 agents in our market center. I'm also talking with lenders, and I'm talking with title companies. When lenders and title companies are saying that it's busy, it's really busy. And so we're excited about the market right now. I've just had this conversation earlier. It's the Super Bowl concept. After Super Bowl Sunday, in all of my years, it seems like the market starts picking up for the selling season. And it's being true to form this year. I know early on, the beginning of the year, right before the beginning of the year, the National Association of Realtors predicted about a 2% increase in the market nationwide for 2025. They've since revised that in the last week or two. I've seen now they're saying it's going to be 9% increase.
Really?
So, it's just volatile. It's crazy, and the interest rates are still not wonderful. I don't think we're ever going to get back to those rates back in COVID, at least in my lifetime, but you already said I'm old. So
we both are.
But I think what you're going to see, what you're seeing is, even as rates are kind of staying stable, even if they go up a little bit, you got property prices, appreciation, and property prices are still rising. And so it's always a good time to buy real estate. It's always a good time to buy, because if you hold it for a while, I'm not going to say how long, because it depends on the person and down payment and all that kind of stuff, but it's a good investment. Always a good investment. It doesn't matter where you buy, it matters where you sell.
So along those lines, I have a couple of questions to spin off of that. But
Sure.
The first, at that last, what you're talking about there, I came from a full-time realtor. Now I'm here at Jago just doing sales here, but still the same concept, same buyers coming in.
Of course.
And I get the same objections as I was with a realtor about buying a house. When I ask if, are you ready to buy a home? I'm going to wait till rates drop. What's your answer to that with the market at the moment?
I think you have to respect their opinion, respect what they want to do, but also help educate them to say, as rates are staying stable and waiting for them to drop, home prices are still going up. And I think at that point, you pick your evil. You choose the, what are you going to do? And so you may wait till rates drop, but how much is the value come up? And at that point, it's moot.
And that's been my response is, I'm going to wait till rates drop. Well, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows what rates are going to do. They can predict on this trend and that trend. No one really knows. When I tell the customer, you truly know when you need to buy a house.
Absolutely.
And so if you wait, so we're about 10,000 other people right now waiting for rates to
Another
drop.
good point.
And then, so if the rates do drop and a percent, you get an influx of all those people waiting at the same time.
And we go back to the COVID era of when there were
Inventory.
10 people waiting to get into a house.
Mm-hmm.
They do more than full price offers and have all these appraisal gap contingencies and all that kind of stuff. And now you're battling, if you're a seller, it's a great time because you get to look at 5 or 6 different offers. If you're a buyer, you're battling 5 or 6 different people, plus trying to negotiate with a seller and all that. It makes it difficult.
Well, and if you're a buyer, it's a wash for you.
Absolutely.
Your saving of money is really negated because you're
Absolutely.
having to pay more. So
Absolutely.
it's like
No doubt.
just I've said it before in other episodes, date the rate, marry the house. That's a cliche.
Sure.
So speaking of trends, what trends, and you mentioned COVID, it's 5 years since COVID.
I know.
What trends are you seeing now compared to 5 years ago?
Wow. You go pre-COVID, and pricing pre-COVID was way different than it is now. I mean, obviously during the COVID era, we all thought we were going bankrupt, and that didn't happen. It really somehow it fueled the market, and I think rates dropped. I think there were a lot of different factors there. But I think what happened is you look now and you look back and say, okay, what are the trends? If you're asking, you look at the trends and say, are there more buyers in the market? Maybe, maybe not. Listing inventory has been significantly low for the last few years. So I think the trending now, inventory of listings is picking up a lot. So buyers are going to have more to choose from. So that's definitely a trend. I think once again, you've talked about the interest rate. I think interest rate fluctuating up and down a little bit is kind of causing a little confusion among buyers. Like, do I wait? Do I go ahead? It seems like it's dropping. Do I wait or do I go ahead? So I think you've got a little trepidation there. It's always a shifting market. Mm-hmm. The market's always going to shift. It's constantly shifting. And what kind of made the joke is, what day is it and what hour is it? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a quick shift and sometimes it takes a bit of time.
Well, and I've seen a trend so I have tons of realtor friends, and I ask them weekly, daily sometimes, what are you seeing? Because you're right, it shifts. So I'm staying in touch with my realtor friends. What are you seeing out there? I know what I see because I'm in a direct sales role.
Of course.
So, but I stay in touch with my realtor. One of the things that I've noticed is a trend that's being told to me, and I see it some with us in the direct sales, but because of that inventory being more now, mm-hmm. the house showings are more.
Oh, no doubt.
How do you do it? How's that influence a realtor on how you deal with a buyer if they want to go look at 30 houses?
Well, you hope you don't have to show 30 houses. That's a lot of time.
But I've had some realtors say they're showing 20, and more than one realtor saying they're doing that. So what's your advice and take on that?
I think if you have to show 30 houses to a buyer, a couple of things are happening. You have an indecisive buyer that just not quite sure. They think they know what they want, or they don't really know what they want yet, which is okay. Buyers, I mean, that's what they do. They look and kind of eliminate houses instead of finding the right one. You eliminate the ones that you don't want, and you get to the one that you want, right? I think also you have to be listening to your buyer's needs. And I think that is probably the most important. If you have an agent that is not listening, you need to find an agent that is. And listening to your needs, not just showing you what they want you to see. If you're asking for a 4-bedroom, why are they showing you a 3-bedroom? Most agents don't do that, but over the years you hear stories. And I think it's just very important for agents to listen to what the buyer wants and needs and try to find that.
Well, and as realtors, I say I'm still in the business, but we want to be as a servant to them. But there are times that you have to be a leader too.
Absolutely.
And say, hey,
guide them through the process.
For me, if I've shown 5 houses and none of them hit, I'm going to regroup.
Of course.
Hey, what's changed? Our conversation, you wanted this, and this. I've done my research in MLS, this, and this. Where are we at?
Sure.
What's changed?
And sometimes when you start showing buyer homes, their mind changes.
Yeah.
They may think they want an acre. You show them an acre. They're like, oh my goodness, I don't want an acre. I want a half acre. Right. I think as buyers start looking at houses, they also analyze what they want and what they don't want, and their mind may change. which they have every right to do.
Oh,
And at
absolutely.
that point, that's where
Well, they're making the mortgage payment. That's what I tell them. You're making the mortgage payment, not me. Yeah.
Unless I'm living with you and helping you make that
Yeah.
payment, it's none of my business what you buy.
But
Yep.
you're right, and that's what I'm seeing and hearing from others. Now the inventory, 5 years ago we didn't have that.
Oh, of course.
It's like if there was a house that even came close to what you wanted, you had to go get in line, like you were saying. It wasn't. You had to get there
Absolutely.
first,
and then hope nobody even saw it, but everybody did.
get the paperwork filled out, and so you didn't have that variety.
Absolutely.
And so now buyers do have that variety, and it's a luxury for them now.
And
It can get so there's a tipping point though, right? It's
Sure.
variety helps, but it gets to a tipping point to confusion.
It's the law of supply and demand.
Yeah, I get confused about what I want. Let's shift gears in another route. So we've been my episodes we've been covering, and I want to be helpful to those watching that may be wanting to buy, sell, invest. But let's talk about the profession itself.
Okay.
Being a real estate agent.
Yeah. I always say it's the most wonderful, horrible, great, terrible job there is.
It is a people business.
It is. It is.
But it's and again, we're still making that comparison. 5 years ago, real estate's flying off the shelves, and everybody thought, I'm gonna get my real estate license.
Of course.
It was a good time to get your real estate license.
Absolutely.
What would you say now if somebody came in and said, hey, or saw you and was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license? What would you tell them?
First question I'd say is if you get your real estate license, if you do it the right way, it'll change your life. You look at real estate and you can say you're in real estate sales, you're a real estate advisor, you can say all these different things. But in fact, if you're a realtor, which is the trademark name, but if you're a licensee or a realtor, you sell houses, that's the product really, but you're really the product. And I think it's less about selling houses and building relationships. Over 28 years in this business, I have hundreds of clients that they see me at the mall, I'm still getting hugs. That feels great. It still feels good cashing that check. I mean, we're all in it for the business, right? But man, that relationship that you build, and if you have that servant attitude and that servant heart, there's really no ceiling in this business. And that's one of the big things is you're the limitation in this business, you yourself. So, I mean, man, it's like I said, honestly, it's the most wonderful, horrible, terrible, great business there is, because there's days that you're nothing but putting out fires. And then there's other days where you're watching a first-time buyer walk out of a closing, they've got tears in their eyes and they never thought they'd be able to do it. And you were part of that. That means something.
Oh, absolutely. And that was still is my why, even with what I'm doing now, is I'm going to help people make the biggest decision financially
Absolutely.
that they're ever going to make.
Absolutely.
Most people, 95, 98% of the people, buying a home is the biggest financial decision.
Absolutely. And they do it multiple times throughout their life, most of the time by statistics. And they need somebody they can trust, somebody they can lean on to help them through that process. It's not an easy process. It's a very stressful time. And so if you can help them through that process, guide them, treat them with respect, and have a servant heart while you're doing it, you're gonna do pretty well in the business.
Being a little candid here. So social media is the it now.
Sure.
And there's some stats I've seen before, 78%, I think it was last time stat may have changed, people start their home search online, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are engaged with social media now with every aspect of their life, especially buying a home. You see realtors out there, they're holding the sold signs up. That's great, outstanding. But what truly separates successful agents from the ones that fizzle out?
Man, that's a big question.
That's a big question.
That's a very big question.
But I think it's something we got to cover. If somebody's interested in his career, they have to understand that it's not where you come in a shelf and they come to your cash register and you ring them up.
Sure.
It's not. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts. So
I think
what separates the successful from the ones that are struggling? I just being candid.
I think that most agents, most people that get into the real estate business, they do have that servant heart. They want to make money. They want to change their own lives. But I think they have a servant heart because they're helping people. I think what it comes down to is you can get 10 people in a room that are real estate agents, and you can teach them the same thing, the exact same thing. You can give them all the systems, all the tools, all the love, all the guidance, everything they need. There's one thing you can't give them, and that's that desire to do it. You either want it or you don't want it.
Right.
And I've interviewed and hired hundreds of agents in my 28 years. And what I've learned is there's never been one person that walks in and says, I just want to be mediocre. I just want to do this halfway. I just want to sell a house here and there. Everybody wants to be a top producer. The thing that separates the people from selling a few homes a year to selling hundreds of homes a year is tenacity. They're just going to get in and are grind and they're going to do it. And no matter what brick wall comes in front of them, they're going to bust through it. They just don't take no for an answer. Not typically with buyers and sellers. They don't take no for an answer within themselves.
Right. So we'll wrap it up. So let's play a little game here, a little fun segment.
Okay.
We're going to play real estate myth versus reality.
Okay.
Myth number one: realtors make easy money, just show houses and collect big checks.
Yeah. You asked me if that's myth or reality?
Myth or reality?
That's it's both. Do you show houses? Showing houses is the easy part. Showing houses is simple. You can get anybody to do that. Anybody that doesn't even have a license, you can get them to go open a door. It's the process between finding the home they want and getting it to the closing table that makes it a very difficult job. I always tell our agents, if real estate was easy, they wouldn't need us. The commission checks, yeah, some are big, some are small. And it depends on what the price is. But my feeling is it doesn't matter if it's a small little cabin in the woods that's really, really modestly priced, or if it's a $10 million home somewhere on 100 acres and it's got all kinds of crazy stuff. It's everybody's castle. Everybody's treated the same, and it's not about the money. It's about the servant attitude.
So I do have a serious question spinning off from that.
Yeah.
So just so buyers know, you're paying for, would you agree with this statement? You're paying for what a realtor knows, not what they do.
Both. You're paying for experience, for sure. You're paying for that guidance. I've been there. I've been in the end zone before.
Because you were saying about open a door. You're right. Anybody can go open a door.
Anybody can open a door.
But it's
negotiating.
After they open that door.
Of course, it's the negotiating. It's the guiding through the process with inspections and title work and working with the lender and working with inspectors and working with the closing agency and working with the other agent involved and making it happen. It's a lot of stuff. It's all part of the big picture. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Is it worth it? 100% yes.
So myth versus reality. I don't need an agent. Everything's online. I can do that. Myth or reality?
Well, you got to put your feet on the ground at some point, walk through the house. You have to, everything's online. Well, everything in this world is online. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to just go onto Google and find out what's wrong with me.
You can try.
You can try. Yeah, you can try and self-diagnose, and then you've done that wrong. I'm not gonna have legal work. I'm not gonna go onto Google and figure out how to fill out some kind of legal paperwork and then go take it to the courts. I think it's a profession where there's so many pitfalls and so many things. There's so many moving parts in a transaction, and you got people. You have agents that have gone to school for it, that consistently are being trained, that are in the market working and doing it. It's like you said, it's experience, not just opening the doors and filling out the paperwork. It's the experience and the nuances of the business that a non-realtor doesn't know. They don't even know they don't know the playing field. They don't know the rules of the game. They're just kind of muddling through. So and if you look at historically, 92 to 96% of homes sold year after year historically are with the help of a real estate agent.
So I want to go back where we're talking about what the life is like being a realtor from day to day.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about that. We talked about what the market doing that, but what's day-to-day life personally like for a realtor?
Oh man, a lot of phone calls. You hope. If the phone's not ringing, you're not having dinner.
Right.
Phone has to ring. You have to make calls. You have to receive those calls. Man, the life of a realtor, it's different every day, as you well know. I mean, you may have a quiet day where you're going to get paperwork done. It's your in the office day. I always talk to our agents about you work on your business in the morning and in your business in the afternoon. So you're in the office in the morning doing follow-up calls and reaching out to people and trying to gain business. In the afternoon, hopefully you're on the appointments that you set in the morning. And man, I don't know of another job. There's probably lots of jobs like this, but what other job can you go from appointment to appointment with your windows down, listen to Snoop Dogg or whatever your favorite music is? And that's the best part of the job. It's the freedom. I always talk to agents about, I can help you make a lot of money. Any real estate company that says they aren't going to do that, you probably need to run from. What word that I love more than the money is freedom. I've not punched a clock in 28 years. Now, I'm harder on myself than any boss has ever been. I work a lot of hours, but I'm working the hours I want and I'm working for them for myself. And punching a clock at 8 o'clock, punching out at noon, coming back at 12:30, punching back in and punching the clock at 5, I would be fired in the first hour.
Right.
You know, wouldn't you? I mean, it's just like, I can't do that. There's nowhere in my body, my DNA that tells me I can do that now, because I've had this freedom, and that's the word it is. It's a freedom to set your schedule. Now, if you're not working, you're not making money. You work 10 hours a week, you're going to get paid like you work 10 hours a week.
It takes some discipline.
100%.
Right.
Yes.
You still got to have
absolutely.
discipline. Discipline gets you your freedom.
Man, I have that on my board in my office.
Yeah. Discipline gets you your freedom.
At the very top of my whiteboard in my office, I have discipline is freedom. And that's exactly true.
So just to wrap up a little bit, one thing, if folks have some questions about that hear this, watch it, or maybe if they thought about it and they're like, hey, I want to try this real estate thing, get my license. How can they get in touch with you and you can give them some advice and guide them through the process?
Best thing to do is call the Keller Williams First Choice Realty office, 270-782-1811, or just the real easy thing is Chad McCoy at kw.com. And I will reach back out. I'd love to talk to them about the process, about the pre-license school, how to get your license, and then what happens then. That's the most important thing. What do you do after you get your license? That matters. Everybody's going to go through the same process to that point. Where you affiliate and who you affiliate with matters because of the training programs and how we're going to work with you.
Awesome. So, and as always, we're going to wrap it up here. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends, family, and others know about this. I'm Rick. This is Chad.
There he is.